I work as a waitress at one of the most expensive restaurants in New York City. Most nights, I serve celebrities, CEOs, people who spend more on a single meal than I make in a week. I smile. I'm professional. I don't ask for autographs or make a scene. 3 months ago, I was working a double shift when Adrian Keller walked in. If you don't know the name, he's worth $4.2 billion. A tech mogul, self-made, on every Forbes list. He requested a private table, alone, which was unusual for someone that famous. I was assigned to serve him. I brought water, took his order, stayed invisible the way good servers do. Then I saw his wrist, a small tattoo, a red rose with thorns twisted into an infinity symbol. My heart stopped. My mother has the exact same tattoo, same design, same placement, same wrist. I've asked her about it my entire life. She never explains, just says it's from before you were born. So I did something I'd never done with a customer. I asked a personal question. "Excuse me, sir. My mother has a tattoo exactly like yours. What does it mean?" Adrian Keller went completely still. Then he asked me my mother's name. When I said it, he dropped his wine glass. It shattered, and he looked at me like I had just brought someone back from the dead. Before we dive in, have you ever discovered a secret about your parents' past that changed how you saw them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love stories about lost love, second chances, and how the past never really stays buried, please subscribe so you don't miss our next one. Now let me tell you about the night a tattoo revealed a story that had been waiting 25 years to finish. I'll start with the most difficult part. My mother is dying. Breast cancer, stage 4, metastasized to her lymph nodes and liver. The doctors gave her a year. That was 3 months ago. She's been fighting chemotherapy, radiation, clinical trials, but the treatments are expensive. Even with insurance, the copays are crushing us. My mother, Julia, works as a housekeeper. She cleans homes in Manhattan and Brooklyn, rich people's homes. She's done this for 24 years, my entire life. She never complains, never asks for help, just works 6 days a week, sometimes 7. But now she can't work. She's too weak, too sick. So I work double shifts at Cipriani. Breakfast and dinner, sometimes lunch if they need me. I bring home maybe $400 a night in tips if I'm lucky. It's not enough, but it's all I have. It was a Friday night in late October. Cipriani was packed, every table full, the kind of crowd you get in Manhattan. I was on my 8th hour, feet aching, smile fixed in place. Just 3 more hours until I could go home. Josh, the floor manager, pulled me aside. "Lucia, table 12 VIP. He asked for privacy and the best server we have. That's you." "Who is it?" "Adrian Keller." I knew the name. Everyone did. Tech billionaire, self-made German immigrant who built a software empire from nothing. "He's eating alone?" I asked. Apparently he requested the private corner table. No fuss, just service. Got it. I grabbed a water pitcher and walked to table 12. Adrian Keller sat with his back to the wall, mid-40s maybe, dark blonde hair starting to go gray. Well-dressed, but not flashy, charcoal suit, no tie. He was reading something on his phone. He looked sad. That was the word that came to mind. "Good evening, sir. My name is Lucia. I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you with something to drink?" He looked up, tired eyes. "Red wine, whatever you recommend." "The Bordeaux is excellent." "That's fine." I poured water, set down bread. He barely noticed, just stared out the window at the Manhattan skyline. Wealthy people eating alone always made me sad. You have everything, but you're sitting in an expensive restaurant by yourself on a Friday night. What's the point? I brought the wine, took his order, filet mignon, medium rare, asparagus, simple. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Of course, I'll have that out shortly." I turned to leave. That's when I saw it, his left hand resting on the table, and on his wrist, visible as his sleeve pulled back slightly, a tattoo. Small, delicate, a red rose with thorns twisted into the shape of an infinity symbol. My breath caught. I knew that tattoo. I've seen my mother's left wrist every single day of my life. When she cooks, when she brushes my hair as a child, when she hugs me, when she reaches across the table, the tattoo is always there. A red rose, thorns forming an infinity symbol, faded now. We got them together the week before I left. He told me, even when we're apart, we'll have proof that we existed, that what we had was real. "Ma," I didn't know what to say. "I need to see him, Lucia. Please." "I don't have his number. I don't know how to reach him." "You said he's famous now. There has to be a way. Please, Toro, I don't have much time left. I need to see him. I need him to know I never forgot. I called the restaurant and asked Josh if Adrian Keller had left any contact information. No, but Lucia, someone's here asking for you. Who? He says his name is Thomas Beck. He's Adrian Keller's lawyer. He wants to talk to you. I'm at the hospital. Can he come here? A pause. Muffled voices in the background. Yeah, he says he'll be there in 30 minutes. Thomas Beck arrived exactly 30 minutes later. A man in his 50s, gray suit, calm expression. He introduced himself in the hospital cafeteria. Miss Rossi, I represent Adrian Keller. He asked me to find you and ask about your mother. Is he okay? He seemed upset when he left last night. He's been upset for 25 years. Last night was the first time he felt hope. Thomas opened a tablet. Can you tell me about your mother? Full name, medical condition, everything. I told him, Julia Rossi, 48 years old, breast cancer stage 4, Mount Sinai Hospital, room 407. Prognosis, less than a year. Thomas typed quickly, and you said she knows Adrian? She says they were in love 25 years ago. She had to go back to Italy. When she returned, he was gone. She thought he moved on. He didn't move on, Thomas said. He spent 5 years looking for her. Nothing. He thought she stayed in Italy with her family. They both thought the other gave up, I said. Exactly. Thomas closed the tablet. Adrian wants to see her, with your permission. She wants to see him too. When? Now, today, as soon as possible. She's dying, Mr. Beck. She doesn't have time. Understood. I'll bring him this afternoon. 3 hours later, there was a knock at room 407. I opened the door. Adrian Keller stood there in the same charcoal suit from the night before, but he looked different. Older, more tired, uneasy. She's awake. She knows you're coming. But Mr. Keller, Adrian, please. Adrian, she's very sick. She looks different than you remember. The chemo? I don't care. I just need to see her. I stepped aside. He walked into the room. My mother was sitting up in bed, bald, thin, IV in her arm. But when she saw him, her face changed. 25 years seemed to disappear in a moment. She looked younger again for an instant. Adrian? Julia. He sat beside her, taking her hand, tracing her rose tattoo with his fingers. They didn't speak. They just looked at each other. Then they both cried. I stayed outside room 407 for 2 hours. Through the door came muffled voices, sometimes crying, sometimes silence, sometimes laughter mixed with tears. I tried to give them space. I tried not to listen, but I wanted to know everything. After 2 hours and 7 minutes, the door opened. Adrian stepped out. His face was pale, eyes red and swollen. He looked like someone had just been given devastating news. Is she okay? I stood quickly. Is my mother? She's fine, he said, then stopped. He stared at me differently now, focused, unsettled. Adrian, what's wrong? Lucia, I need to talk to you, somewhere private. Okay. The cafeteria. We walked in silence. Heavy, tense silence. Something had changed in that room. We bought coffee. Neither of us touched it. We sat under flickering lights. Adrian kept looking at me. His hands were shaking. You're scaring me, I said. What did my mother tell you? Lucia? His voice was rough. When is your birthday? What? Your birthday, when? March 15th. What year? 2000. Adrian, what is this about? He closed his eyes, then exhaled slowly. When he opened them again, they were full of tears. Your mother told me something she's kept hidden for 24 years. My stomach tightened. What? When she went to Italy in 1999, she didn't know she was pregnant. The room felt like it shifted. She found out a month later, in August, a pause. She was pregnant with you. She came back to New York in January 2000, 7 months pregnant. She went to my father's old apartment, but he was already gone. He had moved out in December. She searched for him for 2 weeks, but couldn't find him anywhere. Then his voice broke. March 15th, 2000. You were born at this hospital, and she was completely alone. I couldn't finish the sentence. I'm saying, we think I'm your father. The cafeteria faded around me. Everything else disappeared except those words repeating in my head. No. I shook my head. No. My mother told me my father was someone from Italy. She said that because she couldn't find me, he replied. She thought I moved on. She thought I forgot her. His voice tightened. But I was here, Lucia, in New York for 24 years, looking for her, looking for both of you. I just didn't know you existed. You didn't know about me. I had no idea. If I had known, if I had found her when she came back, everything would have been different. I stood up suddenly. The chair scraped against the floor. I need to talk to my mother. Right now. Lucia, I need to hear this from her too. I walked back to room 407. My mother was already waiting. She saw my face immediately and her eyes filled with tears. He told you, she said quietly. I pulled the chair closer and sat down. Yes, he told me. Are you angry? I tried to understand my own feelings. Anger wasn't the right word. I don't know what I am. Hurt, confused, overwhelmed. Just tell me everything from the beginning. I need to understand. So she did. She told me about meeting Adrian in 1999, about falling in love, and about having to leave for Italy when my grandmother suffered a stroke. She found out she was pregnant about a month after arriving. I was 6 weeks along. Why didn't you tell him? I wanted to, but international calls were expensive. I tried writing letters. I don't even know if he received them. And your grandmother was very sick. I kept thinking I would tell him when I returned. And when you came back? He was gone? I was 7 months pregnant. I went to his apartment. The landlord said he left in December. No forwarding address. Phone disconnected. You searched for him? For 2 weeks. I went everywhere. Asked everyone who knew him. No one had any information. I was exhausted, pregnant, alone. I eventually gave up. Her voice lowered. I told myself if he wanted to find me, he would have. Maybe he had moved on. I had to focus on you. I stayed with a friend, then found a small apartment. I stayed quiet for a long time. I'm not angry, I finally said, reaching for her hand. I'm just sad for everything we lost. Not angry. You were 23, alone, pregnant, scared. You did what you could, and you gave me a good life. You worked yourself to exhaustion for me. Tears filled her eyes. But you deserved a father, and he deserved to know he had a daughter. But neither of you knew. You were both looking and just missed each other. That's not your fault. It's just bad timing. I love you, she whispered. I love you too, Mama. I left her room and went to the stairwell to think. Adrian found me about 20 minutes later. Can I sit with you? Yes. We sat in silence for a while. Your mother told you everything? He asked. Yes. I understand now, he said. It wasn't anyone's fault, just timing. Bad luck. I looked at him. I'm 24 years old. I just found out my entire life story was wrong. The man I thought was my father is actually you, and you've been in New York all this time. I know, he said quietly. I paused. Why did you move in December 1999, right before she came back? He leaned forward. I got a job offer, a startup in Midtown, better pay. I thought if I saved enough, I could go to Italy, find Julia, bring her back, or stay there with her. So you moved closer to work? Yes, I worked 16 to 18 hours a day. I changed my number when I left the apartment. I gave it to the landlord, but he never passed it on. My mother said she asked him. He was old, Adrian said. He may have forgotten. He exhaled. She came back in January 2000. I left in early December. I missed her by 1 month. 1 month. If I had waited, if he had remembered, you would have known me from the start. His voice cracked. I tried to build a future so I could give her everything. Instead, I missed everything. I listened to the weight of it. 25 years of regret sitting in that sentence. You didn't know, I said. I should have been more careful. I should have tried harder. We both went quiet. My mother spent 25 years thinking the same thing. I said, you were both doing your best. You just missed each other by 1 month. Silence again. So, he said finally, you'll want a DNA test. I already know, I said. I believe it too, he replied. But I need confirmation, medical reasons, legal reasons, and I need certainty before I allow myself to believe it fully. Because if it's wrong, I don't think I could handle that. I nodded. Okay, we'll do it. He called me 3 days later. The results are in. Meet me at the hospital. I want us all there. When I arrived, he was standing outside my mother's room holding an envelope. His hands were steady, but his jaw was tight. Ready? He asked. As ready as I'll ever be. We went inside together. My mother sat up straighter when she saw us. Adrian opened the envelope and read silently. Then he looked up. 99.9% probability of paternity. His voice was calm, but his eyes were wet. Lucia, you're my daughter. My mother covered her mouth. Oh my God. She opened her arms. I stepped into them, both of us crying. I looked at Adrian. You can come too. He hesitated, then joined us. 3 people finally connected. What happens now? I asked. Now, he said, I fix what I can. And he did. Over the following week, everything moved quickly. My mother's doctor, Dr. Daniela Hill, confirmed a call from Adrian's representative. He offered full medical coverage and transfer to a private facility. It's legitimate, I said. He's her old friend. A very generous friend, Dr. Hill replied. She was transferred to Memorial Sloan Kettering 2 days later. Private room. Top specialists. Experimental treatments funded entirely by Adrian. He cleared her medical debt, over $140,000, and paid my rent for a year. Go back to school, he told me. Finish your degree. I dropped out because of the bills. Then go back. Your mother would want that. I hesitated. This is too much. It's not too much, he said. It's 24 years too late. He visited every day, sometimes twice. He sat with her, talked with her, laughed with her. They rebuilt the 25 years they lost. She saved us, my mother said one day. Our daughter saved us. Treatment began to work. The tumors didn't disappear, but they shrank. The doctor called it remission. How long? My mother asked. Years, Dr. Hill said. Not months, years. 6 months after that night at the restaurant, Adrian proposed. No spectacle, no crowd, just a quiet moment in her hospital room. I should have done this 25 years ago, he said. Will you marry me? She said yes. They married a month later in a small hospital chapel. Today, 2 years later, my mother is still alive. The cancer is stable, managed. She lives in a house in Connecticut near the water with Adrian. She travels when she can. I finished my degree and now work at a publishing company. Sometimes we sit together in the evening. I see their hands still together. Their tattoos faded but visible. 2 roses, 2 sets of thorns, 2 infinity symbols. Do you regret it? I asked once. The tattoo? Adrian said, no. It was the only thing that kept me believing she was real. I thought about removing it, my mother added, but I couldn't. It was all I had left of him. And now, I asked, now it's proof, he said, that love doesn't disappear. Even after 25 years, even after everything. Even when time tries to erase it, it waits.